Now, this is the real insurrection. It's not Trump supporters at all. That was a furphy. No, the real insurrection is by people of the left who are trying to intimidate judges of the Supreme Court of the United States. And the Biden White House, by the way, has refused to condemn it. You might say even encouraged it, the disgusting hypocrites. This insurrection is by mobs who are even going to the homes of Supreme Court judges last weekend to scare them and their families. It is an insurrection by barbarians who don't believe in the rule of law, but instead in the law of the jungle. They're trying to frighten the judges who are about to declare Roe versus Wade is bad law, that there's no constitutional right to an abortion. Here, for instance, is the mob that gathered outside the home of Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
Safe and legal, keep abortion. Safe and legal, keep abortion. Safe and legal, keep abortion.
You don't get to take away my bodily autonomy and enjoy your Saturday night at home. You can do one or the other.
Now imagine Kavanaugh's wife and daughters inside that house. How scared they'd be. Do you think they'd dare go out? And imagine the feelings of their father and their husband seeing that. Here is the protest outside the home of the Chief Justice, John Roberts.
The whole world is watching!
The whole world is watching! The whole world is watching!
And more intimidation like that is coming. Shut Down DC, a far-left group linked to Antifa and to Black Lives Matter, is advertising a protest outside the home of another conservative justice of the Supreme Court, Samuel Alito, and another far-left group has published a map showing the homes of other judges as well. Now, some people excusing all this say, oh, it's just a peaceful protest, settle down, free speech. But even if you accept that excuse, and I certainly don't, how are the judges to know if they and their families are safe from these mobs? Antifa, for instance, has a shocking record of violence and arson, and has been publishing this incitement to terrorism, a picture of an activist with a Molotov cocktail. If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either. And already an anti-abortion organisation's office in Wisconsin has been firebombed, and sure enough, had that same slogan painted on their building with an Antifa tag as well. Here we go. Antifa's got another excuse to licence their terrorism. Now, the White House had a chance last week. They had a chance to get ahead of this terror, at least, try to head it off or, dissuade people from joining it, publicising it, whatever. But no, they couldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. White House spokesman Jennifer Psaki said, she was asked straight out, could you condemn the activists who are publishing the home addresses of the judges? Her refusal to do so was shameful.
These activists posted a map with the home addresses of the Supreme Court justices. Is that the kind of thing this president wants to help your side make their point?
Look, I think the president's view is that there's a lot of passion, a lot of fear, a lot of sadness from many, many people across this country about what they saw in that leaked document. We obviously want people's privacy to be respected. We want people to protest peacefully if they want to protest. That is certainly what the president's view would be.
So he doesn't care if they're protesting outside the Supreme Court or outside someone's private residence?
I don't have an official U.S. government position on where people protest.
Isn't that shocking? No government position, no White House position on a campaign to intimidate the nation's top judges and their families in their own homes. And a campaign to do that in order to frighten those judges out of deciding cases on the law, to make them decide those cases instead out of fear for their safety and for the safety of their children. I mean, what kind of administration is this? And the hypocrites, they've been exaggerating and bewailing and dramatising the protests at the Capitol in January last year. That protest by stupid Trump supporters wanting Congress to cancel the results of the election. I mean, that protest was bad, but it was never going to topple the results of the election. It was never going to put Trump back in, right? It was one isolated ill-organised, if it was organised at all, protests that got out of hand. But here, on Joe Biden's own watch, his White House does nothing about not just a single ragtag protest. This is an organised campaign of intimidation that threatens the rule of law in the United States. And make no mistake about that. You imagine if this catches on, if this has any prospect of success, if it's not resisted, and judges do get terrorised, God forbid, something worse. Everything about this campaign is an attack on democracy and the rule of law. Now, for a start, the judges being targeted, they're not saying abortions are bad and they must be banned. They might privately believe that, but that is not indeed what they're saying. What they are saying is the law. The law. Roe versus Wade is made-up law by judges 49 years ago who just pretended that the Constitution implied a right to abortion. They say it doesn't. They just made it up. And the Supreme Court now is about to rule that it's actually up to elected politicians to decide the country's abortion laws, state by state. It's not unelected judges, and that's democracy. Okay? That is democracy. If abortion is the support that the protesters claim, no problem. If you want abortion legalised, then just go out and argue for it, get the vote out, vote for it, done. But these protesters don't actually believe in democracy. They don't believe in the rule of law. They want these judges to decide not on the law, as they have, not on the law, but out of sheer fear. They don't want to, these mobs, they don't want to persuade anyone or reason with anyone. They simply want to rule by force and intimidation. They would rather destroy democracy than to lose. And the White House has no official position on this? Shame on them.